Let's talk about the top 5 countries to live in for expats. For each country on our list, we're going to be looking at a variety of factors, including quality of life, earnings potential, healthcare, and education. We've based this list on the available data, but as always, remember to read as much as you can about your intended destination before committing to relocation. Now let's get to the countries. In no particular order, we're gonna start off with Switzerland. We'll begin by discussing the quality of life that residents of Switzerland can expect on a daily basis. With the 4th highest GDP of any country worldwide, many expatriates come to Switzerland for the high wages. But what makes Switzerland truly special for the people who call it home is often the country's unusually relaxed political climate. Famously neutral in global affairs, Switzerland benefits from a high degree of political and social stability. The average expat salary in Switzerland is the equivalent of $200,000 US. Despite its diminutive size, Switzerland is globally renowned as a business, finance, and commerce powerhouse. And that's not the only industry that the country excels in. You might be surprised to learn that Switzerland has the 2nd highest healthcare spend per capita after the United States. However, do keep in mind that all healthcare in Switzerland must be paid for through private health insurance, making global health insurance an absolute must for expats. Seeing these stats, it's no wonder that Switzerland ranks number 2 in the world average for life expectancy. Unfortunately, Switzerland is not the highest ranked in state education. They have really good mathematics, but science and reading are not quite as high. For this reason, you might want to consider one of the 44 schools which are part of the Swiss Group of International Schools. Despite that, Switzerland is a wonderful place to live, but it comes at a cost. Zurich ties with Paris as the most expensive city in the world right now, which can make life difficult for those who aren't earning a high salary. If you fancy a long, healthy life with good employment, so like everyone, plus an abundance of cheese and chocolate, Switzerland could be the perfect place for you. Moving right along to our second country, we've got Canada. For the first time this year, Boston Consulting Group listed Canada as the number 1 destination people said they would move to given the chance. Canada has a particularly strong appeal to younger, digitally minded white-collar workers. That's thanks in part to its strong tech and digital services scene. So what exactly can you expect from life in this nation? We're starting off talking about quality of life. The perks of moving to Canada are plentiful and will appeal especially to young families. These include free universal healthcare to all permanent residents, free public secondary education, a high degree of public safety, and low air pollution. Canada is also renowned as one of the most liberal and progressive societies in the world, making it a really exciting and energizing place to live, no matter what background you come from. The average salary earned by an expat living in Canada is $111,000 US. That's certainly nothing to scoff at. And the pros don't stop there. Let's talk about the standard of healthcare in Canada. Canada just misses out on the top 10 spot in both healthcare spending per capita and life expectancy. Universal healthcare is available to all residents in Canada, and in some provinces, it's the only option. If you're still on the fence about making the big move to Canada, this last part may sway you. Let's talk about education. Canada is one of the best countries worldwide to receive a state education, coming within the top 10 for reading, math, and science. Plus, children growing up in Quebec and Ontario can expect to receive an education in French as well as English. So in the end, what's the final verdict on Canada? Ultimately, Canada ranks highly across almost all quality of life metrics, including safety, health, environment, and life satisfaction, making it a first-class destination for expat families. And while the cost of living can be expensive in major cities like Toronto and Vancouver, many citizens agree that living in these cosmopolitan areas are worth the price tag. Our third pick is one that was once ranked the happiest country in the world. That nation is none other than Norway. Let's jump right into the quality of life aspects that make this place so great. Did you know Norway has one of the lowest population densities in the world. Yeah, that's right. Fewer people live in its capital city of Oslo than there are people in Rhode Island. Another thing that really draws people to Norway is their incredible track record when it comes to income inequality. This nation's Gini coefficient of 0.262, which measures income inequality, is one of the lowest in the developed world. Speaking of which, you may not need to worry too much about your finances because when it comes to GDP, Norway is increasingly looking towards a future full of hydropower, digital services, and tourism, which is why foreign expertise is in such high demand. However, it should be noted that the average salary of expats living in Norway is quite a bit lower than the other two countries we previously discussed. You're looking at the equivalent of $73,800 in this case. And while that's definitely enough to live off of, it may not allow the most luxurious lifestyle. But what about the state of healthcare in Norway, you might be wondering? Well, let's talk about it. Norway's healthcare system is arguably one of the best in the world, and might explain why Norway ranks third in the world for life expectancy. It's free for everyone who has national insurance in Norway, which you'll receive when you start paying taxes. For our last category, education. Norway doesn't offer the best system in the world, but it's very far from the worst. This nation ranks mid-table as far as state education goes. However, it has recently been boosting its education spending, making it clear that officials in the country care about continuously improving their schooling. Ultimately, Norway is a fantastic place to call home. Expatriates will undoubtedly discover a comfortable and cozy existence in Norway. So far, we've seen some phenomenal countries that offer great standards of life in the West. But what about the Eastern nations? At number 4 on our list, let's dive into what life looks like for expats living in Singapore. Singapore's unique history as a crucial trading port in Southeast Asia means it boasts one of the most developed economies worldwide, with financial services, technology, and trade topping off its list of heavy-hitting industries. Singapore actually boasts the world's freest economy according to the World Economic Forum. What's more, Singapore is renowned for being one of the safest countries in the world, with violent crime occurring very rarely. This probably has a lot to do with the country's overall high level of political and social stability. However, no country can be perfect, and of course, Singapore does have a few downsides. The average expat salary in this country is $69,396 US, which admittedly is the lowest we've seen on this list so far. But for what Singapore lacks in certain areas, it more than makes up for in others, like healthcare. Because Singapore is one of the world's most advanced health systems, it has the 5th highest life expectancy in any country worldwide. And the pros of Singapore don't stop coming. Singapore ranks 4th in the world for overall quality of education, including one of the highest scores in quality of science teaching worldwide. Students in Singapore also benefit from a policy of bilingual teaching. Overall, this country is a real melting pot of cultures. Singapore incorporates the best of both the Eastern and Western worlds into a single metropolitan republic. We've finally reached our very last country on our list. Last, but certainly not least, let's go to the land down under and explore the possibilities of living in beautiful Australia. First off, Australia actually ranks highest on this list for GDP per capita. When it comes to employment, it's good news all across the board. Australia is a relatively stable country with an ardent passion for liberal democracy. Some of the key industries in Australia include finance, investment, banking, and technology. However, we can't ignore the elephant in the room: cost of living. Unfortunately, the cost of living within the country seems to be rapidly escalating. Pair this with the fact that the average expat salary in this nation is not extremely high. At $69,202 US, expenses for expats who choose to relocate to Australia can certainly be a little pricier than the other countries we've looked at so far. Let's take a quick look at the healthcare in the country. Australia ranks 8th in the world for life expectancy. This is thanks to their world-leading universal healthcare system. But as great as their healthcare system is, the education system in Australia is currently not topping the global rankings. Student performances have unfortunately been declining over the last decade. You might want to do some intensive researching into schooling options before committing to a life in Australia. Australia is a country that many people dream of visiting or moving to permanently. Could this be your perfect paradise? Maybe so. And with that, we've concluded our list of the top 5 places to live for expats. Which country are you thinking of moving to? Or do you already live in one we've covered? Let us know in the comments. If you'd like more lists and guides of moving to another country, be sure to hit that subscribe button. And don't forget to check out our full article on the top 5 places to live for expats, which is linked below. There, you'll be able to find even more details on each of these amazing locations. That's all for now. I hope you enjoyed this brief exploration into some of the coolest countries in the world. See you in the next video.